If someone had told me these things before I got married, I would avoid a lot of confusion, pain, and unrealistic expectations. Marriage isn't about love, it's about growth, sacrifice, and the truths that people never talk about. So before you say I do, please listen to this. First thing I wish I knew about marriage, it is that it's not easy to live with someone, especially when you are used to live alone. I left home when I was 18 and I was living in a dorm, and later I was renting, and all my conscious life I was alone. And when you get married, there will be a person who is sometimes 24 hours with you, and everything will be destroyed in terms of your understanding will be the things that you were thinking it's not normal anymore. For example, order in the house, cleanness, or how to cook food, when to clean the bathroom, or how to change the bed sheet, and etc. So there will be a lot of confusion and misunderstanding even with very little things. Even in the beginning, when my husband suddenly entered the room, I got scared because I was not used to have someone else in my room. Of course, it's very hard to get prepared for such things, but you have to understand for yourself that it will be very hard to build household together, taking into account that you were born and raised in very, very different families, and your understandings in terms of all these are super different. The second thing, that you will have a lot of arguments and misunderstandings, and it's not because of the housework or because of the routine and cleanness. It will be about everything, and again, it's because two worlds collide, and there will be a lot of misunderstandings, and you can't expect another person to act as you want, and as a result you will become mad, irritated, and etc., and it will bring to arguments. For me, I was thinking that if two people love each other, they will do their best to avoid conflicts or arguments. But when you start living together, you will understand that it's unavoidable. You will fight, you will argue, you will shout at each other, even if you love this person. From my point of view, it's super normal, and I have talked to many friends of mine who are also married, and they agree that arguments are part of marriage life. But what you have to do before getting married, just to try to discuss everything that possible before signing the contract. Because when you discuss something and agreed on that before marriage, when you are in the marriage, when you have this discussion again, you can easily and simply say that we have discussed that, we have agreed on that, there is no point to talk about anymore. But when you haven't discussed it, you already have a lot of problems and arguments because of the household routine and responsibilities, and additionally there will be something else that you haven't even talked about. Therefore, don't be afraid. Talk with your partner before marriage about everything that you are curious, including money, financial responsibility, responsibility at home, who will cook, how many kids you will have, what kind of education they will get, will you have kids ever, or you want to be child-free. So discuss every single thing that's possible. You can even make a list before getting married, what you want to ask and what you want to discuss with your partner before agreeing and saying, yes, I do. The third thing that was very shocking for me, not even surprising, but shocking, that you will never understand a no person for 100% until you start living with him or her. When we were dating with my husband, I'm sure that he was thinking I'm a perfect person, and I had the same imagination in my mind about him. But when you start living together, you will understand this person has his own background, and sometimes he has a lot of negative experiences from before, and unconsciously he will bring it back to this relationship, and it will bring to arguments and misunderstandings again. And at the same time, from your side, you will understand that you are not also a white butterfly flying around and you're so innocent. A lot of actions of your partner will trigger your traumas and your negative experiences from the past. It's very hard to cope with it if you don't go for therapy. But what I do in this case, because I can't afford therapy at this stage, I start writing everything down. When I am mad at myself, at my partner, at his actions, I am trying to write everything down. This way I just give my negative emotions to the paper and I start feeling better and better. Of course, another mandatory thing is to talk about your partner with all this and communicate. But I have heard and I have read a lot about that. You have to communicate, you have to talk about it. But when you are angry and when you want to kill your partner, it's not possible to communicate, because you will start defending yourself, your partner will start defending himself, and in order to be able to talk and communicate properly, you have to be super mature. And whoever I meet and whoever I have met in my life, nobody is mature. Even if you go for therapy for 10 years, you will still have something that you have to work on. And for average person who usually doesn't pay attention to therapy or psychologist, it's very hard to communicate, especially with another person, because sometimes we have conflicts with ourselves, not talking about with someone else. Therefore, before talking about something, you have to calm down. How you will calm down? You have to write it down and start talking about something when you are not mad and when you don't want to kill your partner. Yes. The fourth thing is about love. Many people are going for marriage, and it was maybe partly my case also, just because they love each other. But when you live with a person and you can see that he or she is not perfect, love evaporates. And when love is gone, there should be something else you base your marriage on. It can be understanding, it can be respect, it can be mutual goals or your common values. In my case, it's a mixture of everything, but I still think that there should be more bases and more fundamental points to base my marriage on, which I hadn't thought before. And now I'm building it, and it's much harder to build it when you are in the marriage, because besides these points, there are so many other things that you have to take into account. For example, cooking, your rent, your bills, your holiday, your work, and so many other things. And the last thing, which is very connected to the fourth one, is about trying to build this basis of your marriage before getting married. You have to, first of all, build a lot of good memories together, because when you have this crisis, relationship crisis, and you will have them, you can't avoid it. And when someone tells you that yes, of course it's possible not to have conflicts or arguments, believe me, they are lying. It's not possible. You will have these storm days in your marriage anyway. Therefore, you have to have a lot of good memories to rely on when you have this bad mood or bad days or conflicts or arguments, so they can warm your heart. This brings to another point. Don't rush into marriage. Take your time. Get to know your partner as much as possible. Discuss everything that you want to discuss, even the smallest things, like who will take the trash. Believe me, it's very important. Will you wear slippers at home? Believe me, it's very important. Everything should be discussed. The more you discuss before the marriage, the less conflicts you will have during the marriage. At the end of the day, marriage isn't a fairy tale. Unfortunately, it's a partnership. So if you are going to get married, please get ready, get prepared for the marriage, not for the wedding itself. Because wedding will be only one day, but marriage will be for all your life.